Howdy, howdy, everybody out there. Welcome back. Today, Magic Theory. What is in your pockets? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's jump right into it. So, first thing I want to do is I want to talk about what I've got here on the mat, right? We've got an optical illusion for you, right? A green one, purple one. They're almost like Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's almost like Wi-Fi, right? But it's an optical illusion because one appears to be bigger than the other. Now, this is important because we want to talk about your perceptions as well as the perceptions of others. But in reality, it's the same thing. Okay? So this is a great way to open up, have this in your pocket, whatever you want to do. It's a great little icebreaker to talk about how your perceptions and mine are not all that different, but yet they may appear different. Okay? So, it's a good place to start. A little bit of an optical illusion gets the brain going and all that. So that can be in your pocket to start you off. Now, everything that you see here, obviously with the angle and everything, you see these little poker chips over here. I've got a little dollar bill over here. I've got some cards over here. Okay, those are all things that would be in my pocket, right? Now, something else I want to talk about. So if I have this as my opener, but it's not really an opener now, is it? No. We're not talking about openers. We're not talking about routines. We're talking about what's in your pockets. Your everyday carry, EDC for a magician. I've got 10 things that I want to talk about today. And I start off with just this. It's a piece that I can open up. It's an icebreaker. It doesn't really do anything besides, something I can talk about and get the point across. And you can do some really interesting magic with it. Yeah, beautiful, right? Of course, that's just a little snap change for you. Okay, so now we're going to jump into this poker chips, right? We've got two black poker chips. I have performed this, and I've been wanting to talk about this. I've been performing this almost daily. Yes, I carry it with me almost daily. Beautiful trick, right? I can actually magically make them switch places. But you wouldn't believe me because they're the same color, right? Now, that's okay. You don't really have to that's okay. You don't have to believe me. So what we'll do is we'll change them real quick, right? Now, if you like the blue and the red, that's good. Okay. If you prefer black, we can go with black. If you don't like that, we can actually jump them and switch places, right? Now we've got the blue one and the black one. I know what you're thinking, though. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it's got black on one side and black on the other. Well, no, it's red and blue, right? We switched them. No, you don't like the red and blue? Okay, that's fine. Let's go with, yeah, green and yellow. Beautiful. I perform that pattern-wise differently every time because I'm very impulsive, and so when I perform it, I just kind of make up based on improv, based on what's going on in the current surroundings. But that is one of my favorite tricks right now. Absolutely love it, and that's an everyday carry. Now, here's something else to talk about because there's going to be sidebars for what you're carrying because this is magic theory, right? This is mentalism of a sort, okay? Mentalism in the sense that it's all in the mind, and that's something. This is a talking piece. So you really have to do well with that performance to captivate your audience with this idea of things are based on our perception, which is one of my all-time favorite sayings, which is reality is your perception of it. So opening up with that, that's me. That's who I am on the inside. So carrying that is a no-brainer for me because that is a part of who I am. The poker chips is all about perception changing as we change the colors. Now, the reason why I love this is because not only is there a color change, but there's almost a transportation happening too, perception-wise anyway. So, we've moved right along to two of the items. Now, again, these will be in the pockets. Normally, I wear a vest. So let's talk about pockets because pockets are important. It's a good place to go. We got two items down out of 10. Pockets. So I've got the top pocket here, nice little pen sticking out because you might want to write something down, a little autograph, you know what I'm saying? Okay. or if you just need to make a note because you got an idea while you're out and about. Don't forget to carry your notepad. The notepad's over there. Don't have it in the pockets right now, but that is something that you should have on you. If you do magic with a notepad, then you might want to have a second notepad to write stuff down, and then your magic one, so you don't, but make sure you don't get them mixed up. Very important. Great. So now we got the top pocket here. This is great but everybody sees this. Your pocket square can go in here. So if you do something with, say, a handkerchief or a bandana or anything like that, that can go right in there. Great. Then I've got, in this particular coat, I have a red coat that I absolutely love that has this many pockets. Can't do magic with 0 pockets. Just saying. Anyway, 2 inside pockets. Good stuff. So when your coat has 2 inside pockets, then you have 3 pockets already, and that's we're just on our coat still. Okay. Down below we've got 2 pockets, our normal pockets. Okay. Now what's nice about this particular jacket is it actually has 2 pockets in one, but it's actually like little coin pockets. So I mean it's good for coins and things like that. But that's where we're at with that. So now we've got 5 pockets, and that's just in my jacket. And I've got 10 items. Great. So next up I want to talk about the rubber band. Now this is wearable objects, right? And as you can see, I have a watch and I have a rubber band. So you got to accessorize your magic, right? So a couple of magic tricks that you can do with a rubber band, just to, you want to get it loosened up, right? So you want to do a little spin-a-rooney. That's nice. Okay. You also want to bring out, like if you're a Mario fan, then you want to be able to do a little bit of rubber band origami. And that's star power right there. Star power is amazing. Okay. So we like star power. Now the last one I like to do, once you've got it nice and warmed up, is you can actually break it. Okay. And then you can restore it with a little bit of magic. Nice. Okay. Bonus, if you actually break, because you might have a couple of rubber bands on you, on your wrist here, if you break one of your rubber bands and you have a ring, there's a nice little bit of anti-gravity rubber band magic that you can do. So that goes right on your wrist. And that's not even, you can do rubber band magic just by itself. If you have 2 of them, you can do linking rubber bands and stuff. If you can use it with cards, as well as a number of other things that are perfect. So don't forget the wearables. So now that's 3 objects, right? We've talked about the dollar bill that's on the table, but we'll talk more about that in a second. Plus playing cards. So I've got 2 decks of cards, and we'll get into why that is. But if I were wearing my vest, I dressed down today, I would have 2 pockets in the front. Boom. Okay. So that's a great place to put some coins, or these poker chips is what I normally keep in there. And there's a little bit of funny business because they can't go in the same pocket. Now what's nice about this channel is that I don't have a lot of people following me, and actually that brings up an excellent point. Thank you, myself. I forgot to open up my live so I can see my chat, just in case somebody is joining us for the chat. So let me go ahead and take a second to take a look. It is just me. Fantastic. So we haven't missed anybody. Good deal. Okay. So, objects, what's in your pockets? How many pockets do you have? Pocket maintenance. Because you're also going to have a wallet. But something to keep in mind about your wallet is that if you're going to do magic with a wallet, you probably want to have a separate wallet. Just like I said, a separate notebook. Because you don't want to be using and flashing your personal information while using your actual wallet. Or you can just minimalize and keep that stuff separate, however you want to make it work. But you got to keep in mind pocket maintenance. You're running out of pockets, right? So I've got 5 pockets in the jacket. Then I would have 2 in the vest, so up to 7. Okay. The pants that I currently have only have 3 pockets apiece. Okay. So now we're only talking 3 more pockets on 7. That's 10 pockets. Hold on a second there. 10 pockets, 10 items. Couldn't have planned it better myself. I did. But you got to keep in mind that I'm wearing some of those items. For instance, let's see if I can find, oh, here it is, yep. So we have a nice little coin here. We're going to take that coin and we're going to make it disappear into the hand. Now, if you were here, what I'd have you do is I'd have you squeeze my hand. Squeeze that hand as tight as you can. Is that good? Is that good? You sure? Okay. Now, you're probably thinking that I made the coin vanish by magic. Okay, you're probably thinking that I put it inside the watch. Under the watch, wherever on the watch, nothing, right? None of that's happening. The coin, with a little bit of misdirection, I actually shot the coin over and put it underneath the microphone. You can kind of see it sticking out there a little bit. Now, my hope is, because nobody is actually here, somebody's actually here watching, is my sound even working? Have I been doing this live this whole time and have no sound? I can see my microphone working, so I think I do have sound, but this microphone is not working. So, that's why we do technical tests before we get rolling. I'm glad that I still have a microphone that is active. I have like 3 microphones. I only need one. So, there's a little coin magic for you. This is, in fact, the coin. Okay? So, that's great. So, all you have to do is just have a separate coin on you. You can do a little bit of magic with that. You can make it vanish using your watch, right? It's not going to disappear under my watch. It's going to disappear under your watch. I don't know. Oh, fantastic. Terry is here. Good deal. So we are talking about everyday carry for magicians. I've been doing a lot of performance-based stuff. Well, at work, I have opportunities to kind of perform these little things for people and practice and perform. So right now we're up to 4, I believe. 5. Let's see. Recap. We're about halfway through the list. So we've got optical illusion talking piece. This isn't an opener to a routine necessarily. This is a way to let the audience inside my mind and my thought process by talking about how perception works and optical illusions and how what we see in the world around us is different for everybody, but yet at the end of the day it's exactly the same. There's nothing different, even though they look different sizes. You know, one looks bigger than the other. They're the same. So that's a good way for me to open up and talk about that kind of stuff. Icebreaker. Then we've got our poker chips that change colors right before our eyes. Absolutely beautiful. We had rubber band. Ow. We do that for authenticity, so you know that it's real. You know, no CGI here. Did a little bit of coin magic. It's always great to have a little bit of coin work. It's gone. But you can pluck it right out of the air and it reappears. So, 5 objects so far, and we talked about I normally have 10 pockets. So, Terry, what's your thoughts on that? Do you primarily do card stuff? We do have some card stuff that we're going to talk about, but I save cards for last because I do cards all day long. I mean, that's my main thing. So, how do you, if you do other types of magic, how do you manage your pockets? And you can talk about cards if you want. How do you keep them safe? Do you put them in a specific pocket? Do you carry more than one deck? How do you handle that? I'm not sure, like just the insight into your hobby, if you will. Money. That's it. Sorry about the dead time. I'm just waiting for a message here while I get prepared with my next piece de la resistance. Very bad accent. Sorry about that. This is a very similar trick And I gotta remember my angle for my hands is here, but my face is up here, so I guess it just depends, but you can't really see the color there. So this piece is, it was actually a favorite of mine for a while until I got the poker chips. It's a very similar trick. The way I handle this one is quite simple. So basically it's a good one possibly for kids, I don't know. I haven't necessarily performed it live, but what we have here is the idea that this is, and I would love to be able to make this out of an actual lollipop. So let me know if you think this would be pretty decent. So basically we have a grape lollipop, and if you're not a fan of grape, that's okay. We can change it to lemon. Lemon is good. Now normally I'd have a hat, but I don't have a hat on hand except for the top hat, right? So we do keep another one in my hat, and that's cherry. If you like cherry, that's okay. But I'm personally a fan of sour green apple. So there you have it. So it's a similar idea. It's changing colors. It's doing that. But I feel like that one is a little bit cleaner for me because you can't really pull off the paddle move with this. I mean, you kind of can. And that's what was discussed with this piece, is that if I could figure out how to do a good, like swashbuckling with my lollipop here, a good paddle move with it to make it look pretty decent, but it's so bulky in the hands. So that's my lollipop, and I'm sticking to it because it's a lollipop. Anyway, I try. You know, that's all I can do. So that is not necessarily a piece of magic that I would carry on me, but it does bring up another topic before we get into money. Money is very important for most people, but I want to talk about alternatives to what you're carrying. And I do apologize for my party mode over here. Basically, I have a broken phone that half the screen just flashes. But we want to talk about alternatives to what you carry, right? So you have a deck of cards. And when we get there, we'll talk about a specific type of variant there. But you could carry any deck. Like I have over 100 decks of cards here. You can carry any color, any design, anything that fits you and your personality and how you want to perform your magic. That's a good way to basically express to the audience like your interest in or the story that you're trying to convey through the narration of the piece, right? But in this case, I consider the lollipop and the poker chips very similar. Okay? The coins you can do, keeping in mind, like I have right here, an Aikido box. And again, I wouldn't say that name if I were performing it, or if a lot of people were watching this video. Thanks for showing up, Terry. I really appreciate that. It's a coin box. It's a magic box for coins. You know, like you would really sell the dramatics of it if you were performing it. And I don't want to give away the information because somebody can just run up and be like, "Oh, Aikido box. I know what that is now." But that, you know, we're talking about behind the scenes here as what you're carrying. If you want to do 1 coin routines, 5 coin routines, whatever kind of coin routine you want to do, you got to keep in mind that that's the variance of what you're carrying. Or maybe you're carrying something else. For instance, I'll use this as my for instance, I like to juggle. But I don't want to carry my billiard balls and practice that or perform that while I'm doing my jugglings, because I feel like that's a ball specific like slot for me. Do I want to carry a coin trick with the poker chips? Because I feel like those are very similar coin-esque things. But the way I get around that is by a variation of the effect. This is a color change. Okay? Color change with a little bit of other wonkiness in there, which is great. The coin trick that I do is hidden in plain sight effect. So it's a transportation of a coin, and it leaves my coins empty, or my hands empty, and then it makes the coin appear away from myself in somebody's pocket or under a can, which is how I performed it the other day. I was 10 feet away from the can, and the coin vanished in my hand and reappeared under the can. So it's a different type of effect. So it works here for me. So we can also talk about money. Now you might not want to carry coins, but you can carry money. But what's nice about this particular trick is that somebody can give you the money. So let's say Terry gave me this dollar. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. Don't forget, you can support the channel by also giving me $1 by joining my membership. I'm not gonna plug that like because there's 15 videos on there right now, but I'm gonna be adding more. But that's the idea, is that hey, you give me $1 or whatever. But in this case, we have a dollar bill, and what we want to do with it is we want to perform a little bit of magic with it, which is to make the dollar bill disappear. Are we making it disappear? No, that's not what we're doing. Wait a second. Hold on. Dollar. See, what happens sometimes when I forget where I'm at in the trick, forget how to. Wait a minute. Okay, sorry about that. I might have to start over. Let's move on to the next trick. We'll talk about that later. That's kind of how I would handle that, but I could come back to it later. I can come back to this trick later and do something of. See, I'm just trying to figure it out. That's what I'm saying. Like, I lose my train of thought. It's okay though. It's okay. You can go on and on with it. Depends on how you want to handle this trick, but I can make your dollar come back. I know you're thinking that no, it's not a blunder or anything like that. Here you go. Here's your dollar back. So that's the idea of what you can carry with you in this particular sense. If you want to carry money, that's okay. Nice little crisp dollar bill. So I don't know. Just looking. Oh, I got 3 people watching. Fantastic. One of them is me, because I watch myself. So that is a nice little trick that you can do with a borrowed dollar, which is even better, because then you can make some jokes about either how I messed up. I'm never a fan of making the audience member look bad. That's not my style. I know some people can pull it off. I'm not a big fan of that. I personally would rather make fun of myself, because I'm performing magic. Like, what else? What else would I do besides make fun of myself? So I borrow $1. Oh man, I forgot what I'm supposed to do next, and I mixed up the trick, right? When I folded it, I can put that away, and then I can go back to it later, or I can bring their dollar back and hand it back to them. It's also a good time to talk about, like if I'm doing videos like this, I can talk about my membership, which is $1. I can talk about super things. Hey, just give me $1. If you thought this was good, stuff like that. So later on down the line, that's where I can plug that. But right now we're talking about the magic theory of the pockets. Don't spend your magic money. Don't spend your magic money. Okay. So what is next? Because we've had optical illusion, a nice little icebreaker, poker chips with the variant in there. We've got the coin trick, the rubber band. We forgot to talk about the pen. The pen is up here in my pocket. I did mention it earlier. We're not going to quite need it yet, though. Excuse me. We should have 10 things. What do we got next? What do I got? Oh, yeah, that's right. Here we go. Got some hair. Sponge balls are my absolute favorite. Ever since I was a kid watching magic, sponge balls are the thing for me, and I hope you enjoy this, okay? So I have moved to the bunny rabbit trick, right? So we have the bunny, hop, 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 okay? But here's the thing. We just talked about him hopping, because he's actually going to hop back to the pocket. Yep, he's going to hop back to the pocket. I know you think he's over here, but he's actually in the pocket. Yeah, he's disappeared. Okay? We put him into the hand. But you're following the right hand. Yes, You're following the right hand. The right hand. The right hand. He's back in the pocket. I know what you're thinking, that there's two rabbits, but you'd just be splitting hairs. Boom. Thanks, Doug Kahn. Or, wherever that came from. It's beautiful. So now we have two of them, and now you know why he keeps jumping back to the pocket, because of his companion, right? They like to hang out together. So we could even do it like this, where you can see both of them here. Place one in the hand here, and then we have this one over here. But of course, it doesn't matter where they are, they're going to find themselves together. Yeah. It's quite mind-boggling, right? I can even put them into this hand and put them down here into this pocket over here, and then I can take this one if I can find it. And now we can put, well, wait, we jumped ahead, sorry. We jumped ahead. There are two here, obviously. You can see that there's two there. So why did they go to my pocket? Well, you'll see that next. So we put both of them in the hand this time, so they can't jump around, right? They're both in the same place, so they're going to go to the pocket, or they're going to go here, they're going to go here. No. That trick speaks for itself. They have little helpers. That's what happened. They're Easter bunnies. They're delivering all the Easter bunny stuff. So coming up with an Easter bunny trick coming up pretty soon is Easter here, Osteria for some of us. But we have the bunnies, right? Sponge bunnies. It's great, but let's talk about something very important about this. This trick takes up two pockets. I have 10 pockets total. I'm wearing a watch and a rubber band as part of my 10 count for what I carry with me. And this takes up two of my pockets. So I've just lost my two pockets that this gives me. So that's fine. But I love the rabbits, especially since there's a connotation with magicians about the rabbits. Because something that I have been working on, something small, not like this big grandeur thing, and it's not out there, but I would put the second rabbit in my hat. So that's one of two things would happen. One is I can make a reference to pulling a rabbit out of my hat if that comes up in the course of the magic, or two, the splitting hair reference, like I made it like pulling out of my pocket, oh, I just have some hair, and pretend to throw like little dust bunnies, So that's the idea there, is that there's a lot of, I almost said the taboo word, but there's a lot of jokes that people will recognize and understand from this, which is absolutely amazing. And these are my sponge bunnies. I love them. Love them. But I did, in a performance, not like out in it was in the real world, but I said they made babies. And I thought about that afterwards, and I'm like, maybe not. So this time when I performed it, I just said, the magic speaks for itself. So you get the idea. There was two bunnies, now there's 5 little ones. That's fine. Okay, so there's that. So what's in your pockets is very important. We need to be thinking about when we leave the house, if we're going to be performing magic. I have 10 objects. Let me double count them. That's right, I forgot one. So we think about when we leave the house what we're going to carry on our person, and for what reasons, and for what we're doing, and how we can swap these out. This is some nice little rope magic that we're going to do here in a second. But there's also, where are we with these things? What's the reset time? You're not performing all 10 things at once, but you could. You could do a full-on routine with these. And we've been here for a while. I don't even know how long we've been here. We've been on here for a while. I don't know how long, it doesn't tell me. But I would say probably a good half hour worth you could do with this, and even longer if you really dig deep in it. But if I'm carrying all this stuff around, I could go do a stand up or walk around, you know, close up magic setup. And I have at least 2 to 3 tricks that are pretty concrete, or at least with the bunnies, a plethora of ongoing effects that I could do with that. And I have probably 2 or 3 routines, at least 2 of them that I know right now that I could probably perform. The one I just did, and then a second one that that's a little bit different, a little completely different than that one, that I could change out if I needed to, and that could be done standing up. That's a big one. Sitting down and standing up is so important. And if you're doing walk around magic, you gotta be able. You don't want to have to utilize a table like for cups and balls and stuff. You have to keep that in mind. I'm not gonna carry cups and balls because I need a table for that, and I don't know if I'm gonna have one available. So all this stuff can be done standing up, which is so important. But you could also do it sitting down. But really, back to the main idea here is what you're carrying and what you're performing. You might be doing one of these at a time, or you might do one and then a follow-up. But if you're doing a nice little table hopping setup, do 3. So if you're, I don't know how many tables, 5 to 10 tables, and you're doing 3 at each table, then you're doing 3 here, 3 here, 3 here. That's 9 things. Then you have 1 thing that's left over that you could probably leave for, like, depending on what your best thing is. Mind you, this is the opener that I'd be using probably at every table, so that's probably the 10th thing. I start my presentation off with the icebreaker. Like, which one looks bigger to you? Which one looks bigger to you? And as I turn, I switch them. You know, so everybody's getting a different perception. So that's probably the odd one out there. But I want to count them at the end just to make sure. You want to have, you want to have roughly about 10 things on you that you can do different things with. And then that way, when you go from table to table, you get to the 3rd table, you get to the 4th table after that, you can jump back to the first thing, and now you can either do different magic or you can do the same magic, but the first table isn't even anywhere near you to see what you're doing, and the 3rd table that you just performed at looks over and you're doing something different than what you just did for them. So it works out, and especially with cards, I could, at each table I went to, if I did cards, I could do something different at each table. You can mix and match, but you want to make sure that your strong magic is your strong magic. And if you're doing something like, I'm not as fluent with the ropes, and this is something I kind of just threw in here for an idea placeholder thing, but like the chips, that's another thing that we want to talk about when we're going from table to table. But for the ropes, for instance, I have 2 that I probably could do right here. The first one is one that I absolutely love, which is you put 1 knot in something, it's just going to slip out. You put 2 knots in it, you're probably right where you need to be. 2 is golden. If you do 3, well, 3 is just going to disappear like smoke in the wind. So that's another one that you can do, another piece of saying perception wise, everything can be wrapped back into perception. Here I am tying knots, but just like when I move on to the next table, you know, hopefully they don't forget me like that, you know, but hopefully that's a memorable thing. The other one that I do is kind of like, it's like a hoodie string, you know, you want to tie up your hoodie a little bit, or maybe you're mimicking how to tie. See, now I did this like 20 times right before I started this live, and I was fine. Now I'm on the live, and now it's not working. But the idea here is maybe you're like tying a tie or something. Yeah, see, that's not working. See, I don't. Maybe it's because I'm on the live that it's having issues. But let's see here. Oh, look at that. So that was pretty decent. But that's basically rope coming through the neck, and I can make a reference. I got distracted with making mistakes, which is fine. Like some might say, my head's not on all the way. You know why? You know that's why I'm here walking around performing. Something, I don't know. Just make jokes, have fun with it. My head's not screwed on tight. Shake it, and then maybe like rattle something in your pocket. I don't know. Something to mess around with. I don't have a rattle though. Oh, I got 4 people on. One of them's me again, so there's 3 people here. Yes, we're doing solid. I'm doing fantastic. I'm so happy. Okay, so rope. What I like about this one in particular is that it kind of comes across as either a shoelace or a hoodie string. Now, I don't wear hoodies, so that doesn't really work out for me. So what I would do is I actually had a black shoelace because I changed out my shoelaces for color shoelaces. I like to make a grand entrance, be dramatic and have bright colors. But take the old lace and then I could carry that around in a ball, and that's not going to take up too much space. And I could say, or like the knot one, or it comes through my neck is like, well, I tried to have these in my shoe, but it was defective. It just kept slipping out of the shoe and wouldn't keep them tight. So that's my reference for that. Depending on like if there's kids or older people who clearly have shoes that they really enjoy, or they have bright colored laces, you can point them out. It's a talking piece. It gets your attention on the person and say, oh, that guy has these pink shoelaces, purple shoelaces, bright red shoelaces, and I draw attention to that, and then I got this, I do a little shoelace thing, it comes through something, all that stuff. It's fun. So let's do some counting here. Let's see, I got 1, 2, nothing else in my pockets there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, oh, and then 9 and 10. 9 and 10, we're finally here, right? We're finally here at cards. So what I have here is 2 bicycle decks that you could carry on your person. Now, a good way to start out this particular trick is we come back to the idea, and we're going to try to perform this. Oh, we're down to 1 person. Apparently everybody left. Cards. That's okay. Good, because if I botch this is a a big effect. Anyway, you can draw your attention to the cards. I want you to think about a card. Remember how we talked about perception and we talked about optical illusions. So I want you to do is I want you to look at this deck of cards, and I want you to think about a specific card. You got one in mind? Perfect. Is it the Queen of Hearts? It is? Fantastic. So there's a little bit of, bringing your attention to this to try to grab that, right? So we want you to think Queen of Hearts, okay? You can talk about statistics, you can talk about all that, you could bring them to this, or you could just, one great thing I like to talk about is I practice with this deck of cards all the time. But if we want you to do some really stellar magic, we're going to have you be in tune with this deck, okay? So we want you to pick a card. Now that we have the Queen of Hearts there, we're going to see if you're in tune with the deck. You can tell me to stop wherever you want. It could be right here. That is fine. That's going to be the 10 of Hearts. 10 of Hearts, 10 of Hearts, 10 of Hearts. Perfect. Okay. That's not the Queen of Hearts. It's still a heart though, so it's still good. It was the Queen of Hearts. Fantastic. Beautiful. So now what we have to do again, if you mess up the trick, that's fine. You picked the Queen of Hearts, and then you had the 10 of Hearts, which you could tell me for the first time now, or however that plays out. But what we want you to do is we want you to now think about the deck of cards. Think about making the Queen or the 10, however you want to make that work. The objective is to make it all come together. Okay? And here's how we do that. We want your card to come to the top of the deck. No funny business except for mine. Your card, the 10 of Hearts, has jumped to the top. Well, your card was the Queen, right? Yeah, the Queen. No, your card was the 10. It was the 10. I'm not kidding. It was the 10. I mean, it doesn't See if we don't want to mess up this trick here. Messed up the trick. It's fine. It's fine. All of the cards are actually 10s. All of the cards are actually 10s. Yep. Probably could have done that a little bit smoother. That's okay though. Basic premise is have them hone in on the card. They picked a different card. Magic stuff happens. All the cards are 10s. Beautiful. Okay. So I hope that we got there. Got to practice that a little bit more. I have contacts in this little room. The dust, dust bunnies came back to haunt me. However you want to go into that. Anyway, that's a stellar trick that you can do. 2 decks of cards. One is special. One is completely ordinary. Okay? Pretty sure this one's ordinary. Yes, it's ordinary. Ordinary deck of cards. All-time favorite effect is blank face card. Absolutely love it, and this particular deck is amazing. Did I even... Oh, I had this set up for something else. This is great. So you could do setup tricks, you can do whatever you want with this deck card, shuffle it, you're good to go. We're not going to do like a whole lot of performance with that, but the idea is you could swap these decks out and nobody would know if you wanted to. Or, like I said, if you're table hopping, 2 separate decks, so you could perform that trick. Maybe that's your ending trick of the night, right? So everybody else has seen all this other stuff, and then you perform that as your ending, or you perform it for the special guest of honor, or however you want to do, whoever you want to perform it for. Big recommendation. Oh, I even have extra stuff in here too. I forgot about that. So that's the nice thing about the cards is I got extra stuff. Even though this is a normal deck of cards, I have some things in there that I can kind of do some really stellar magic with that doesn't go in the deck. That's a lot of information that I don't really want to get into here, but cards are my big thing, so that would be the kicker ending for that. All leading up to the perception idea, really wanting to spin all that around. But 10 items, 10 pockets, but not all of them go in the pockets. And this is the idea. If you're a coins person, then I would definitely recommend having your coins as your finale. If your cards have cards, or if you have maybe a different effect that you really want to bring to your show, that's what's the saying? The saying is packs small, plays big. So that's a good way to go about performing your magic. Is all of this stuff can fit on me, and all of this stuff could take roughly 1 to 5 minutes. Like the rope stuff is not that's not going to take me very long to do the 2 things that I did here, but they're not really all that impressive. And we did forget one. I knew I was going to pick the wrong card. Anyway, we got a joker here. I have a pen. Now, I could sign with this pen. If I were to hand this pen out, I would say be careful. It is pretty cheap, right? It is a cheap pen. So, what if I were to take this pen and stab it through this card? Now, this is a really nice card. I wouldn't really want... Uh-oh. Well, I definitely... this is the elites, too, so these are pretty decent. Well, that's okay. The jokers all look the same. It's fine. Or, if I am magic, I can actually move this around, and maybe I can rip it out. Here, the card is perfectly fine. Yeah, you can take a look at the card. The card is perfectly fine. Everything is great. Yeah, and you can even write with the pen, too. And you can have them write with the pen. Everything's fine. Everything's great. Pen. So this pen is probably one of my favorite carry around things because it fits in the pocket, I can write with it, and I can perform a nice little pokey stabby card trick without it being too over the top. and it's nice. So I have to keep in mind that a lot of these tricks, they're not necessarily one-trick ponies, because I can use the pen in other types of magic. I can vanish it, I can use it as a wand, I can use it with the coins, I can use it with the sponge bunnies. There's so many different options, and it's great misdirection too, because one of those, I love it. You know, see if I can pull it off here. 1, 2, 3, and it's gone. Yeah, gone. Never to be seen or heard from again. The glory of performing magic live. It's gone. Obviously, I was supposed to catch it in my hand, but that's okay. This particular video wasn't necessarily about the performance piece. It was more about the idea of what's in your pockets. What are you guys carrying out there in the world? And I know it's getting to that time here because I've got the cough coming in. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Any final thoughts while I find my dust bunny? There we go. Found it. Terry Hopper, thank you for joining once again. Do you have any, since I think it's just the two of us, do you have anything that you want to talk about? Do you want to see anything? Do we want to just kind of hang out and chat for a couple minutes? That's all I got for today. 10 objects that you can carry around, perform stellar magic with. What do you think? Get a heart to my own video. Heart. Yay. Oh, fantastic. Good deal. Thanks for joining me. I hope everything was good. I hope anybody who watches this in the future, hope you get something great out of it. Thank you, everybody. And remember, stay positive, stay active, and stay awesome. And we'll see you in the next one.